Thank you all for coming. This is so much greater than I expected or deserved. And just kind of, it just kind of follows a career that was so much greater than I ever expected or deserved. But when Denny came to me a couple of months ago and said we're having this get together, and he wanted an invitation list, and that's a hard thing to do. Think about all the people that have had an impact in your life and done some things, just done favors, just opened their hearts to you at different times. When you had to call and get somebody in on Sports of All Sorts at 11:30 in the middle of winter, and they showed up and they helped fill that hour. There were so many things, and so this is as much, I appreciate that it's for me, but the way I looked at the invitations was a way to say thank you to all of you, because in some ways you were the ones that helped me. Nothing would have happened without all of you. And I started with my family. I got 4 of my brothers and sisters here. I dragged them down every time They're the best. Anita and Margaret, Joe and Ray. We had a family of 6 kids and 2 parents and lived in a 3-bedroom house. And it was the foundation for everything I was able to do.
One bathroom.
And 1 telephone. Don't forget. And then came so much more of a family. And you know, the people here tonight are people that I work with, people that I worked for. I have general managers here and news directors, people that signed me to contracts and were kind enough to allow me to keep doing things. Reporters. I've had 9 sports photographers I've worked with over the 40 years. And I believe 6 of them are here, 5 of them are here at least. John Dunster, Scott Simpson, and Philip Lee, and Mark Slaughter. I didn't see Mike Williams or Sean Jones. Teddy Holtzlaw was our first, and he's passed away. And Brooks J. Merriweather was a great guy. Mark Slaughter. Do I mention Mark? I'll hear about it.
Popo, right here, baby, right here.
And so many other photographers that I guess the one thing is my career was based on writing stories. Until the last 6 years, I was never an anchor. I liked being a reporter. And people say, oh, you write real well. No, you know something? What I write is with a video that people give me. The most important person and most overlooked person in our newsrooms these days are photographers. Otherwise, it's not television, believe me, it's not television. So what they did is they were able to give me the video and I was able to write to that. And for that, and they became good friends. We traveled so much. There's one guy, Rob Reichley, who's in North Carolina now. He's still very much active in the business. One year, him and I traveled to Moscow and back. We traveled to spring training twice and back. And he looked at me and he goes, you know, there must be nothing that you and I don't know about each other. And you know, those trips to spring training were in the car, and that is true, because often you live with each other, you work with each other, and you better get along, and had the chance. I see former reporters, Catherine Nero here, it's just, I thought to myself, when Catherine Nero said she wanted to start a family and go to news, I said, what the hell are we going to do? She had been there 5 years, people loved her, and she did a great job for us. And the next day I got a call from a woman named Paula Ferris. And she came and she filled that role for the next 3 years. I've had a chance to work with so many great photographers, reporters, producers, editors, and I think that some people like Tommy Jordan, who's been in a big fight for the last 3 years. I need some help. I need to make a call. Tommy's there. Steve Walter was here. I don't know if you guys know Steve Walter, but for about 20 years, we did Sports of All Sorts. and we did the fishing. No, he was the collectible edition. So he would. It was the most phone calls we would get because he would tell people what it's worth. So if they would say, "I have this 6-pack of Houday beer." What is that worth? That was from the Super Bowl year. And it'd say, if you didn't drink it, it's worth like $2. Or something like that. I have Neil Ramsey and Jerry Cripp. They were in our fishing edition. And we did fishing on here. And we would talk fishing and do, it was great. And people would call, they would, what did you call that, the green screen. We would go up to Miami Whitewater and get a picture of the lake up there, people fishing, and they would have these oversized geese and stuff, and inevitably the next day somebody would call and say, "Could you tell me where you guys were fishing last year?" Some of my basketball guys, Terry Nelson, Ralph Lee, Scott Trout were here today. The football guys, it started. Jim Zarchin was our news director in Sports of All Sorts. He said, "Let's make an interactive show" in 1988, because the Bengals were really good at that time. And we wanted to talk and do a talk show with TV. Nobody was doing that at that time. So Dave Lapham was the first one that came on, made a difference, and then Louis Breeden. I said, I don't know if Louis is still here. I hope he is. Still doesn't weigh any more than he would. And then it was, then it was Mike Martin, then it was Jim Breach. And that's what I'm saying, is everybody always stepped up when I needed that. Imagine saying, "Could you come in at 11:30 at night to 12:30, and I'm going to pay you $100. And they came, and they did shows, and it was just a blast. So, to all of you, and I'm going to look around the room here, because I see my buddy Sean Dunster there, and I see my buddy Jake Ryle here, who's one of these up-and-coming reporters. Keep watching him. He loves to tell a story. Guys like Greg Rhodes was here. He does the parade with Tanya and I on opening day. He fills in all the gaps when we talk about opening day. But, Bill Connolly from the Bengals, he figured out he'd fill in how the Bengals got on the plane all the time and told me when I had to be there and be there on time. And believe me, if you weren't there on time, they left without you. I saw them leave quarterbacks there one time. And then I finished with my WCPO family, because that means so much to me. And especially the people, when Denny decided to quit anchoring, I had to fill in. I hadn't been much of an anchor, and I'd done some of it, but I'd done Sports of All Sorts and that. But for people like Carol Williams and Tanya O'Rourke and Craig McKee and Steve Raleigh, they never were anything but cordial to me, and just great to work with. And I was kind of, even though I was the old guy in town, I was kind of the new guy on the set. And it was always terrific to be able to work with them, and it still is. And so I know I'm going to miss somebody, so if I start making too many names, but when it gets down to my thanks to Dennis Jansen for getting this together. Somebody said, "Boy, there's a lot of people that like you." I go, "No, Denny's really good at throwing a party." Griffin Frank is right next to him. My wife Kathy, who she bugged my butt about invitations and who to send, and you know something, it's hard to think back 40 years sometimes, but you start to remember who's important to you and who was there when you needed a call. And just, again, I'm overwhelmed by this, and so thank you all for coming out, and hope you got a chance to meet my grandson, because that's one of the he's a mighty Finn, and he should be a running back for, I'll tell you what, I'm going to get a golf club in here. Thank you, everybody, and I hope you have a chance to chat again.
If you haven't had a chance to sign this book up front here, please sign the book.